system does not provide for asset accounting. Neither does it provide for methods of systems for measuring performance.
It was on a cold Thursday afternoon on 19th June 1997. As usual, an anxious and expectant country sat waiting for the presentation of the country's budget for the 1997-1998 financial year. All eyes and ears were on one Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, then Minister for Finance.
It was one hell of a challenge because the clamor for a new constitution had gained momentum. And it was clear that the whole issue of removing Section 2A was not enough. People wanted more, and they wanted a new constitution. So as the opposition, they tried to figure out where would they get maximum attention in presenting their case. They happened to pick on the budget presentation day.
This is where Finance Minister Musalia Mudavadi stood as he presented the government's budget policy statement. Right in front of him was a hostile Michael Wamalo-led opposition whose mission to scuttle the budget presentation was irresolute. On his left was a furious Speaker Francis Kaparo and then revered President Daniel Arap Moi, who sat and watched pensively as the events unfolded. This is KTN's Untold Story, the 1997 budget chaos. My name is Duncan Haemba. By 1997, Kenya's opposition was still smarting from the bruising 1992 defeat by KANU. Many of the leaders then believed that only a new constitution would guarantee a free and fair election. With only 6 months to the next election, the opposition saw the budget as the perfect opportunity to get the world's attention. By 2:30 p.m., members of parliament had availed themselves in the chambers in readiness for the budget reading. But the stage was instead set for a fierce contest that would put the House in the national spotlight. Members of parliament from both sides of the House, the government and the opposition, could be seen taunting each other even before the proceedings began. Battle lines had been drawn. The opposition had vowed to disrupt the budget by all means necessary. The die had been cast. Finance Minister Musalia Mudavadi had just left State House for Parliament. Routine was that the Finance Minister would first go to State House and present budget details to the Cabinet. And once that had been done, he would leave straight to Parliament to read the estimates. The move was to ensure no leakages of the details ever took place. Mudavadi had just done that.
When I got to Parliament, you could literally feel there was a problem, you know. And you walk in and as you move around, people are looking at you as if they know something about you or something's about to happen to you, but they don't really want to tell you what it is that they want to execute against you. And this is the one occasion when, as a Minister for Finance, you walk in with some pomp and ceremony on a budget day. So when I walked in, it was quite okay. It was not too bad, but there was the applause from the government side, but there were jeers from the other side, and of course some people pointing fingers at you.
More shock was to follow immediately when parliamentary orderlies yelled to announce the speaker's arrival.
They announced that the speaker was coming, and the president, you know, the normal routine. Again, whereas we would stand to allow that ceremony to take place, the opposition side refused to stand, and they started jeering.
Perhaps unknown to the government side, the then opposition had earlier that morning called a meeting to strategize on how to scuttle the budget reading that afternoon, since the Kanu regime had refused to heed to their demands of having constitutional reforms.
We met and agreed to look for constitutional and legal reasons why the budget could not be read. At that time, we had the leadership of the opposition in the House consisted of Michael Wamalwa Kijana, Mwai Kibaki, and Martin Shikuku. There was a summit in which they used to meet as leaders of the opposition in Parliament.
However, there was a problem. None of the key opposition leaders, Michael Kijana Wamalwa, Martin Shikuku, and Mwai Kibaki, was ready to lead the disruptions. Then DP party leader Mwai Kibaki declined. Next on line was Firebrand Butere Member of Parliament, the late Martin Shikuku, Omwana Oyondi.
It was proposed that if Kibaki couldn't, then Martin Shikuku should be the one, because he was famous and noted for being a master of standing orders. So after, again, a little debate, he said, no, I will not be the right person because there are more fundamental legal and constitutional issues. Then eventually, because at that time Fort Kenya was the main opposition, Wamalwa was the official leader of the opposition, so we said, okay, you should do it. Wamalwa also declined, saying because he's the official leader of the opposition, he cannot be seen to be interacting at that level with Mudavadi, who was basically a minister. That if it was an issue which had been raised by the president himself in the chambers or the vice president, then he would feel comfortable. So I was told to now confront the presentation of the budget, which I think I did quite effectively.
As they laid down their plan, Parliament security arm got wind of the matter.
Some members walipotoka huko wakatuambia what they discussed in that meeting. Leo hapa mtaona. Mmoja, Mheshimiwa Cheboi, akatoa play card kwa mfuko, mimi akanionyesha. Unaona hii? Ndio mtaona. Leo moyo wenu mtaona na yeye. Marehemu Saitoti akiwa makamu wa rais. Mimi nikaenda nikaambia my boss who was Michael Kiruswa. Tukaitana, tukapanga, tukaanza kupanga kwa chamber kama commandos vile protect president and the mayor and the speaker.
Well, I didn't know that there was any plan to disrupt the budget.
As soon as the then House Speaker, Francis Kausayo Lekaparo, had called the House to order in readiness for the day's business, drama began.
Now, the moment I stood to start the process of presenting the budget, then all hell broke loose. Akina Orengo, the current senator for Siaya, people like the late David Mwenje, people like Shikuku, people like Nyanja. These guys just started pulling out placards. You know, they had rolled placards and walked in with them in their jackets. And they started having these placards there, and they were now chanting, "No reforms, no budget. No reforms, no budget."
The man of the moment was the then revered Ugenya Member of Parliament, James Agri Boborengo, who rose on uncountable points of order to try and convince the Speaker to adjourn the House.
Kaparu gave me some latitude to say as much as I could. You know, I rose on many issues, constitutional, legal, and matters to do with the standing order.
The Honourable Member for Ugenya, James Orengo, was entitled to stand on a point of order as he did, and he was entitled to get a response from the chair, which he did.
But as the drama continued, the besieged finance minister thought of a strategy.
For a moment, they would cool off. Then I read again a sentence or two. They create chaos. The Speaker threw out some fellows, hoping that that will bring discipline into the whole proceedings. These guys didn't agree. Then we reached a stage and the Speaker said, "Just present, continue." So I was reading extremely fast.
The government will review laws relating to preparation of accounts, together with the institutional arrangements, and consider the necessary modifications to make them more suitable to present needs and operations. This is necessary.
And those guys were shouting and chanting.
Then the events took a new twist when the opposition unleashed placards that had different versions presenting the same message: demand for reforms. As the head of state, then Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi sat pensively and in dismay.
Moi was in the house, quiet, silent. He didn't have a right to say anything. He was sitting next to the Speaker and witnessed all this commotion. So that is one of the incidences in Parliament that is of note in building up, courage. Some people feared. Sometimes there are things we were doing, not that we were going to succeed, but getting fear out of the people, that the president can be sitting there and you can be told in his face, that it's time to go.
Well, for me, the question of head of state didn't arise. Everybody was a member seated there. And I happened to be the Speaker. And all obligation was on me. The onus was upon me to ensure that there was proper conduct of business of the House. It doesn't matter who rose, it doesn't matter who sat, it doesn't matter who was present, it doesn't matter who went. I had a duty to execute, and I executed that duty with all the diligence I could muster.
The government frontbench watched in shock as chaos continued. Then Gishugu legislator Martha Karua too had her placard, which had a more daring message.
My point of order is this, Mr. Speaker. I came here because I wanted to listen to the budget. The message has been given. Today is a sad day for this country. All members in this House have been elected by the electorate to come and dialogue here, but not to shout. Mr. Speaker, it is very clear that the government of the day has lost direction.
Constitutional reform is of national importance. Mr. Speaker, before let us fails, may I appeal to the chair that the House adjourn to discuss the matter of the Constitution under Standing Order number 20. That's a matter of national importance, here and now.
The more the speaker stood his ground, the more dramatic it got, and the more charged the opposition became. Was the speaker worried as chaos escalated?
Never, 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 never. The worse it became, the stronger it became. And that is my attitude in every situation, even to date. The more difficult it is, the stronger I become. Because you just can't give up as a leader. I mean, it's unheard of. It is terrible as a leader to abdicate, to think twice, to be afraid. No. That's not the business of a leader. No. You must lead from the front, and you must show the mettle which you are made of.